I have 6 o'clock. I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. This is the meeting of the Livingston County Board of Commissioners on Monday, March 14th. If you would join me for just a moment of silent reflection before we get going. Thank you. And now if you would rise and join me in reciting our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Nakagiri,
Here.
Commissioner Griffith.
Here.
Commissioner Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Reader.
Here.
Commissioner Helserman.
Here.
Commissioner Drick.
Here.
Commissioner Zajac.
Here.
Commissioner Gross
Here.
and Commissioner Plank.
Here.
A quorum is present.
Thank you. Next up on the agenda, item number 5 is correspondence. This evening, we have 2 pieces of correspondence, one from Grand Traverse County and supporting the Community Mental Health Authority and opposing current state legislation. And then one from Muskegon County, a resolution honoring Black History Month. I am looking for a motion to receive the correspondence and place on file.
Support Gross.
Motion by Commissioner Reader, support by Commissioner Gross. Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 6, we changed the agenda around just a little bit. But we have the 2021 fourth quarter employee recognition. And our winner is Katrina Wachner. She was nominated from an external nomination. Katrina works for our prosecutor in the Family Support Division. She is an administrative specialist, has been with the county for 4 years. And so I know Katrina is joining us via Zoom tonight. And I want to first say on behalf of the Board of Commissioners, congratulations. It is really a blessing to have so many fine employees and to get the recognition of not only internal folks, but also external, I think is a great testament to the work that you're doing on behalf of the county. I want to read something that went along with this nomination. It says, with regards to Ms. Wachner, every day she goes above and beyond when it comes to customer service. She takes the time to listen to women when they are stressed about their situation in life. They are worried about their children, finances, abusive ex-partners. Sometimes that's all someone needs is a listening ear to put them at ease. So I'd like to thank you very much. And if you were here in person, I would be handing you this certificate, but I'm going to show it on Zoom here on the Zoom camera. And so we really thank you for all that you're doing on behalf of the county. And if you had any words, or Prosecutor Reader, if you had a few words to say, would certainly provide you the time to do so.
Yeah, just thank you. I really appreciate this. It's very humbling. Sometimes you don't get as much appreciation with this job, not with the prosecutor, but like with the people, just because unfortunately a lot of these situations are not in the best place. So it's really nice to hear that what I'm doing is making an impact on people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Prosecutor Reader.
I would just like to say that we're really appreciative to have Katrina in our family support unit. I see that her coworker Shelby Frazier is online with us, as well as the Chief Assistant Carolyn Henry. Ordinarily, in the family support unit, they're recovering child support on individuals that are receiving public assistance. So it's money that's coming back into the state coffers if you have it. And a lot of times that can be very upsetting or controversial to the person that you're asking to pay. And have pay, and it's fraught with a lot of emotions and a lot of difficulty. Katrina performs that position marvelously. Her immediate supervisor, Eric Gutenberg, would have liked to have been here. He's off on vacation for a few days, so we're not going to interrupt him with that. But I quite often will visit. The unit is actually physically separated through the hallway and corridors to go over to the family support unit. But I'll go over there quite often and talk to Katrina, Shelby, and Eric regarding how things are going. So we're really lucky to have her. She's a marvelous employee, and I couldn't, say that there isn't a more deserving person to get this award and recognition. So on behalf of the prosecutor's office, thank you.
Thank you.
You. If my colleagues would join me in giving Katrina a round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Katrina. We really appreciate all that you do.
Thank you so much.
Moving on in the agenda, item number 7 is call to the public. Anybody wishing to address the Board of Commissioners would have 3 minutes. We ask that a card be filled out ahead of time for those here in the room. And Clerk Hundley had mentioned there were 2. She'd received 2. So if you want to call them.
Stephanie Miklas. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your last name. Okay, yeah, City of Howell.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Miklos. I've lived in the city of Howell for 24 years, or 20 years, sorry. In Livingston County, about 24. I've worked at Citizens, I've worked for the schools, the Daily Press and Argus as well. What I want to talk about tonight is a little bit about housing safety and some conflicts of interest too, as they arose with the asphalt plant. Just want to make sure people are being honest, and I had a lot of concerns. A lot of good citizens came to the meeting on February 7th, paid money to, buy signs, support lawyer fees. We all spent a lot of time, and I have to say I was disappointed by some of the lack of, replies to emails as to what commissioners might think about this whole situation. As Bill Rogers was supported by Livingston County Clerk. He was on the Board of Trustee meeting. He was the only one who voted in favor of it. And I just didn't, even if it's legal, I didn't think it was right. So I just wanted to put that out there, just something to think about as far as safety going forward. No one came forward and said this is great for the county. And I would have liked to at least hear from, maybe the Genoa Township Commissioner at the very least, and just did not, and I was disappointed. That note, you had the firefighters come in last week and talk about the fire in 59. I live at Fowler Commons, right on Fowler Street in Howell. The same person that owned the building that was, burned down, maybe, I don't know what the reason was. I read several articles on it. Same person owns or pays taxes on 423 Fowler Street, which is a unit in the condominiums that I own. It's Nick's building. Been going to the person that takes our dues and takes our money, pays our bills every month to the city, is about all that gets done. I've complained for 4 years since I've lived there as a single parent, the condition of the place. She's a real estate agent. Her main bread and butter, she's worked for Griffith for 25 years. She takes our money, and we've gotten our liability insurance canceled because she refuses. She's told me she's going to clean up the place or get people to do it, and nothing has happened. So, I've spent so many hours, time and money trying to make my place safe. And I just would like to see some things. I don't understand, why this person is managing, and I wouldn't be
15
here.
seconds.
Yeah, I wouldn't be here if I had gotten any, response from anyone that could potentially do something. So kind of here to let you know. Thank you.
Thank you. Next,
Chuck Wright, Handy Township.
If there was a book, Waters and Sewer Systems, What Could Go Wrong? Handy Township probably would have a couple of chapters dedicated to them. But they're getting through it. And tonight you're going to be voting on a resolution to pay off their bonds so that they can refinance it. And I'd like you to vote yes. It helps not only the customers of the system, but also all the taxpayers in Handy County.
thank you. Any other cards? Is there anybody, well, it looks like we have a couple people on Zoom. Hold on a second, I'm going to switch over to Zoom here. Looks like we have Ms. Lori Cowan. If you would provide your name and township, you'll have 3 minutes.
Sure, thank you. I'm Lori Cowan in Unadilla Township. And I'm just going to reiterate what I said at last week's meeting during call to the public, since the majority of what I said was never really addressed. I'm hoping you'll be elaborating on the proposed distribution and spending of the ARPA funds tonight. The categories that you have listed are really, really vague. Some examples and explanation for each would be appreciated. I'm also hoping that somewhere in your proposed expenditures for the funds, you will be allocating money for the 911 fiber optic project by hooking up Unadilla, which is the last remaining township without it. In addition, I'm extremely disappointed that you've only reserved 12 million for broadband, which is a project that benefits the entire county of Livingston. I'm hoping you can explain why. And lastly, can you also clarify what the 10 million for lost revenue is? And I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next on Zoom, Judy Daubenmeier, if you provide your name and township or city, you have 3 minutes.
Hi, this is Judy Daubenmeier from Genoa Township, and I also am concerned about the ARPA funding allocation. I'm concerned that too much of the money is going to be used to sort of backfill regular county expenditures. And I know there was discussion of, getting a grant for broadband, and so you wouldn't have to spend more than $12 million for broadband out of the ARPA funding. But I'm curious what the backup plan is if you apply for a grant and don't get it and have spent the ARPA funds elsewhere. This should be a priority to bring our county into the 21st century, every part of the county, not just the people who are able to live in Howell and have very high speed, reliable internet. Everybody needs this. I think I would also like to see a resolution passed by this board calling on the Republicans in the Michigan legislature to fully fund the governor's high-speed internet office so that this funding can be coordinated. It's been proposed, the governor's proposed it, but there's no funding for it. If you want to really have a coordinated program of high-speed internet, I think that needs to be fully funded, and you certainly have leverage with our Republican lawmakers, and I'd like you to use it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. I don't see anybody else with their hand raised on Zoom, so I'm going to go ahead and close the call to public and remind citizens that there is a second call to public at the end of the meeting, although that one is, the duration is 2 minutes in length. So with that being said, item number 8 is approval of minutes. We have minutes dated February 28th, 2022. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion, Smith.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Smith, support by Commissioner Reeder. Any corrections or additions to the minutes? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 9, tabled items from previous meetings. There are no tabled items. So we'll move on to item number 10, which is approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Griffith.
Support Gross.
Motion by Commissioner Griffith, support by Commissioner Gross. Any discussion, questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Motion carries. Reports, item number 11 is reports, reports from commissioners. Any of the commissioners have a report they wish to share with their colleagues tonight? Seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and close reports, and we'll move forward to item number 12 on the agenda, which is resolutions for consideration. The first one up for consideration is Resolution 2022-03-028. It's a resolution exercising option to redeem bonds, and this requires a roll call vote. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Helserman.
Support Zajac.
Motion by Commissioner Helserman, support by Commissioner Zajac. This was discussed in a committee meeting, but any commissioners want the background information or have questions regarding the exercising the option to redeem the bonds? See,
I just have some comments. I think this is a good thing. I talked to the clerk, Laura Isley, and the Handy Township is interested in having a clear title to their water treatment plant on Van Buren Road, and this will allow them to do that. Also, it's a very good timing because the rate of the interest rate on the bonds at this particular point are very good. So it's several different things, and just those of you who have kept track of this, there are miracles of God that happen to bring their system back so that they could afford it. So it was just a lot of things happening. So it's a great win-win, I think. So.
thank you, Commissioner Helserman. Anybody else with any comments, questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Helserman,
Yes.
Commissioner Drick,
Yes.
Commissioner Zajac,
Yes.
Commissioner Griffith,
Yes.
Commissioner Gross,
Yes.
Commissioner Plank,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Reader,
Yes.
and Commissioner Nakagiri.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next up is Resolution 2022-03-029. It's a resolution authorizing the Livingston County EMS to apply for the St. Joe Livingston Community Assistance Grant. Is there a motion?
Zajac. Support Zajac.
Motion by Commissioner Gross, support by Commissioner Zajac. This too was discussed in committee. Are there commissioners that would like a short briefing or have questions for our director? Hearing none, seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank
Next up on the agenda is Resolution 2022-03-030. It's a resolution of intent to apply for financial assistance for fiscal year 2023 under Act 51 of the Public Acts of 1951 as amended. Is there a motion?
Motion Smith.
Support Plank.
Motion by Commissioner Smith, support by Commissioner Plank. Are there commissioners wishing the background information or have questions? I would like just to read, if the Director Kellogg would reiterate the background information on Resolution 030.
Sure. Anytime. So this is our annual application for state financial assistance. I kind of gave you a synopsis of each program in the cover letter. And so there's a couple different types of assistance here. The main one at the very top of the table, the state local bus operating. This is our statutory operating, state operating that covers roughly usually 35 to 40% of our expenses. For 2023, it'll be about 35. And then there's the 5311, which is the funding we pass through to People's Express in Whitmore Lake. That is eligible for that same 35% operating assistance. Specialized services is the pot of funding that we pass through to 5 local service providers. The senior centers, CMH, special ministries, Catholic charities, which just gets passed through to them so they can have operate their transportation programs. And special transportation to work is the final operating program on there, which is just like it sounds, it allows us to operate a transportation to work route. It's been the same 77,670 for about a decade now. The remaining funding sources that are listed on the table in the resolution are capital grants, and the state provides 20% match to the federal 80% grant awards. So these are our anticipated federal and state amounts for all of those programs as well. Just to reiterate, there was a question about changes to the grant language. I did want to just mention again that with the Act 51, that's it's statutorily, the program requirements are set in Act 51. With all of the other, the capital match programs, that is covered by the 4-year master agreement that was previously approved by the board a few months ago. So, and that sets the language, the boilerplate for a period of 4 years. So, no changes since that was approved. And if there are any, the master agreement would have to be approved again by the board. So I think that's a decent overview. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Any questions for the director? Seeing none, we do have a motion and support. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Motion carries. Next one is 2022-03-031. It's a resolution authorizing the addition of a full-time administrative aid position in our Veteran Services Department. Is there a motion?
So moved, Zajac.
Support, Helserman.
Motion by Commissioner Zajac, support by Commissioner Helserman. This was discussed in committee also. Any commissioners want further information regarding this resolution? Seeing none, all those in favor of resolution 2022-03-031 signify by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Resolution passes. Next up is resolution 2022-03-032. It's a resolution to renew existing Microsoft Enterprise Agreement, which provides software assurance for Microsoft server and desktop application. Is there a motion?
So moved, Griffith.
Support, Gross.
Motion by Commissioner Griffith, support by Commissioner Gross. I see our director, Toby. Let me ask my commissioners if they had any specific questions or want reiteration of the background information on this resolution. You're off the hook.
If I may, Commissioner.
Yes, go ahead.
Would like to introduce our application manager, Diane Gregor. Diane is my right hand in everyday operations, and the county benefits extremely well from Diane being the application manager. There's so much that we wouldn't be able to do without her at our side here. So
thank you for bringing her along. So she's the one that does all the work. Is that what you're saying, Chris?
Well, she's one of two.
So, thank you very much, Dan. No questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much, commissioners. It is appreciated.
Next is 2022-03-033. It's a resolution authorizing issuance of a purchase order to Livingston County Trusted Partner Access Interactive for the purchase of an advanced backup storage and logging system and 3 years of support and maintenance. Is there a motion?
So move, Gross.
Support Plank.
Motion by Commissioner Gross, support by Commissioner Plank. This too was discussed in committee, but I'll ask my colleagues if anybody wants the backup information or has questions for Director Toby. You have the other guy that works in here for you?
I do. I have the other guy that
Yeah.
does the other 50% of the work. Joining us tonight is our infrastructure manager, Tim Miles. Tim Miles is my left hand, and the amount of thought and time that he puts in to help the county out in every step of the way. These include late nights chasing fiber optic cables and on cold winter nights, and many other sacrifices that he and the team make. So I'm very appreciative of him here at my side. Joining us via Zoom, we also have our trusted partner from Access Interactive, Daniel Height, joining us, and the Access Interactive partnership with Livingston County brings us a tremendous amount of value. They always work very diligently with us on these very technical projects, and we appreciate their work as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Tim. I just want to clarify when I said, this is the other person that works. That's not to mean that nobody, only Diane and Tim works. I just don't want to be misquoted here. So, any questions, comments from commissioners? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Resolution passes.
Again, thank you very much, Commissioner. Commissioners, we have a lot of work to do now.
That's what happens when you get money. Next up is resolution 2022-03-034. It's a resolution to concur with the Livingston County Aeronautical Facilities Board to enter into a termination of lease and concession agreement upon the sale of the hangar owned by 3540 West Grand River Avenue LLC. Is there a motion?
Move, Helserman. Support, Gross.
Motion by Commissioner Helserman, support by Commissioner Gross. Anybody, colleagues have questions regarding this? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Motion carries. Next up is 2022-03-035. It's a resolution to concur with the Livingston County Aeronautical Facilities Board to decline to exercise the right of first refusal for the sale of the hangar owned by 3540 West Grand River Avenue LLC. Is there a motion?
So moved, Griffith. Support Plank.
Motion by Commissioner Griffith, support by Commissioner Plank. This was another resolution discussed in committee. Anybody have further questions or would like the background information? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? The resolution carries. Next up, 2022-03-036. It's a resolution to concur with the Livingston County Aeronautical Facilities Board to enter into a ground lease agreement with 3540 West Grand LLC for airport property at 3540 West Grand River Avenue. Is there a motion?
So move, Helserman.
Support Reader.
Motion by Commissioner Helserman, support by Commissioner Reader. Are there questions from any commissioners or want the background information on this resolution? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Resolution passes. Next up is 2022-03-037. It's a resolution to concur with the Livingston County Aeronautical Facilities Board to enter into a lease agreement with Dan's PC Solutions LLC for the old airport terminal building. Is there a motion?
So move Gross.
Support Reader.
Motion by Commissioner Gross, support by Commissioner Reader. This too was reviewed in committee. Are there any further questions? Or anybody want the background information? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Resolution passes. We have another resolution from the airport. It's a resolution to concur with the Livingston County Aeronautical Facilities Board to enter into an agreement with C&S Companies of Livonia, Michigan, for the design of site improvements for the future snow removal equipment building. Is there a motion?
So moved, Helserman.
Support Plank.
Motion by Commissioner Helserman, support by Commissioner Plank. This was reviewed in committee. I've asked once again if any of my colleagues had questions that were unanswered in committee. Commissioner Smith.
Just would, hello, Mr. Johnson.
Good evening.
I'm wondering if a professional snow removal company will be consulted in this design for the flow of equipment in and out, or has that already been contemplated?
I don't know that that's necessarily going to happen with somebody outside of our organization. We do the bulk of our snow removal internally. So what we're really looking at is a building location that makes sense, both where we have property and that we have airfield access. But I think we are going to be looking at other airports and other buildings for design features that they find better.
I think his screen froze, but
Oh,
most of
Are
it's
you-
going to be done. Most of it's going to be done by our own staff.
by our own staff and by CNS, but we are going to look at other facilities and what works and doesn't work for them.
Fair enough.
Very similar to how we designed the terminal building.
Thank you.
Is that coming through?
Anybody else? Any other commissioners' questions? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? The resolution passes. The final resolution of the evening is 2022-03-040. It's a resolution adopting Livingston County's vision tour for the strategic use of American Rescue Plan Act funding. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support, Helserman.
Motion by Commissioner Zajac, support by Commissioner Helserman. This too was discussed in committee. I think any commissioners have questions or want further information? The Commissioner Helserman.
It's my understanding that this is a rough, these are estimated figures at this particular point. I would suggest that we have at some point have a work session that's devoted to this subject. We have a lot of things to consider. I think that the rural broadband initiative, I think when we get farther into that, I think that figure may have pressure to go up. But we are still waiting for final figures. It might even, for what we are planning, it might even be less than that, and we may be able to do more than we had initially planned. So I think this is a good starting point, but we still have a lot of planning to do. So.
Any other commissioners? We have a motion and support. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Resolution passes. Item number 13 on the agenda are our accounts payables reports. We have claims dated March 14th, 2022. I'm looking for a motion to pay the claims.
Plank, support, Griffith.
Motion by Commissioner Plank, support by Commissioner Grip.
I'd like to make a comment.
Yes, Commissioner Gross.
I typically, when these reports become available, like to browse through them, not more out of curiosity factor, I think. But in going through the claims recently, I noticed that on page 3 of the claims, there were 7 invoices from one vendor. The total $742.25. And all of the invoices were for calendar year 2021. The oldest being dated June 16th of 2021, which is almost 9 months ago. I find it irresponsible that the county does not pay its bills more promptly. This vendor has a payroll to meet. He's got fringe benefits to cover. He's got equipment to cover. He has a lot of expenses, and us holding on to invoices for 9 months is just totally irresponsible. My comments, sir. Thank you.
Commissioner Zajac.
Thank you, Commissioner. I guess a question for fiscal services. Is there a reason that we didn't pay these? I'm assuming there probably is. There usually is. So if there's a reason, maybe to address Commissioner Gross's concern.
Good evening, commissioners. So a lot of times when you see these really old invoices, it's not the county holding up the invoices, it's the county not receiving the invoices. I don't know on this specific case, the departments are responsible for entering their invoices themselves. So we just review them and approve them. However, I have found in my experience that has almost always been, the reason has been because the vendor has not sent the invoice here. On this particular case, I'm not sure which vendor you're talking about, Commissioner Gross, but I can look into that and find out the reason that is taking. I can assure you that once the invoice is entered into our Munis system, our accounts payable clerk ensures that those are included in the next payroll. In the next accounts payable claim run. They're never just held in the system. So on our end, we always ensure that they're paid on time, that they're reviewed, that they're approved, gone through the workflow, and ready for your reports.
Thank you, Cindy. I do not want to hold this up 1 minute longer, but the vendor in question their name is 2, the number 2, Your Door LLC, and the service provided was dry cleaning of the uniforms. So if that helps, but I hope we can get the check out to these folks as soon as possible.
I could follow up with the court financial officer, Commissioner Gross, and find out what the issue was on this particular vendor.
So, Mr. Chairman.
Anybody else? We do have a motion and support to pay the claims. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Claims are paid. I want to deviate just a second because I see Mr. Johnson has his hand up, and I think I overlooked a resolution ending in 039. Is that what you're? Yes. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. I'm going to go ahead and do the payables, and then we'll go up to do resolution 039. So we have payables dated February 19th through March 4th, 2022. Is there a motion?
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Plank, support by Commissioner Zajac. Any questions or comments on the payables? All those in favor of paying the payable signify by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Payables are paid. Let's go back to resolution 2022-03-039. It's a resolution to concur with the Livingston County Aeronautical Facilities Board to enter into an agreement with C&S Companies of Livonia, Michigan, for the preliminary design of a snow removal equipment building. Is there a motion?
So move, Helserman.
Support Smith.
Motion by Commissioner Helserman, support by Commissioner Smith. This was also discussed at the committee meeting. I'll ask my colleagues if they have any further questions. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Resolution passes. There you go, Mark.
Thank you very much.
We are now at item 14 on the agenda. It's our second call to the public that anybody wishing to speak to the Board of Commissioners has 2 minutes. Is there anybody in the room? No. Is there anybody on? Oh, sorry. I was looking that way. I wasn't.
I know.
Commissioner Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to inform everyone that today is the 90th birthday of Bonnie Corrigan. And we are here while they're having a birthday party for her down at the Brighton Chamber, I believe. So as a Board of Commissioners, I just hope we all take a moment to wish her happy 90th birthday.
Thank you. Happy birthday, Bonnie Corrigan. Anybody else wishing to address the Board of Commissioners? Looks like we have a familiar face. Her hand is raised. Cindy Arbanis.
Thank you. Commissioner Gross, I just wanted to let you know, wanted to follow up. I did get an instant message from the account clerk over at the courts and said they just received those invoices. So they paid them as soon as they got them.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Anybody else? Seeing and hearing none, I'll go ahead and close the call to public and look for a motion to adjourn.
So move, Helserman.
Support Griffith.
Motion by Commissioner Helserman, support by Commissioner Griffith. All those in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.